Hello and welcome to Joy News Desk. Coming out this hour, government announces shift from peacekeeping to peace enforcement in Bawku with intensified curfews and military deployment after students were killed over the weekend. Meanwhile, the Ashanti Regional Coordinating Council has boosted security measures in the region, including banning motorbikes from operating after 7 p.m. after the Kusasi Chief was shot dead. Also coming up this morning, landslide destroys several hectares of farms in Central Kofi.
All this and some 18 medu yenya kwan be wura farm. Na ye be hwe no nkware se Ghana fo be hwe mfuni a etwem esekulity na enya de eda fom. Nsu na to ayiri nyama amanfo kokko asai ebi edua kokko be se ebi de 10 acres.
And as Ghana records its first Mpox death, Joy News checks reveal that public awareness about the disease remains alarmingly low.
Okay, so I've heard of the Mpox virus, but then I don't really know what it is. And I haven't seen anyone with such illness before. Okay. No, please.
You've never heard about it?
Yes.
To stay safe as cases rise to 257. Also have business updates later. And Ghanaians mourn the passing of High Life legend Daddy Lumba, whose death on Saturday has left a deep void in the country's music scene. We'll be speaking to one of his producers whilst he was alive. These and more coming up shortly. Please don't go away. Government has announced a shift from peacekeeping to peace enforcement operations in Bawku and other conflict-affected areas, following an escalation in violence over the weekend. In the latest incident, a student of the Bawku Senior High School was pulled out of his dormitory, shot and killed at close range on the school premises by unknown assailants who scaled the wall and escaped. More on the following News Desk report.
In a statement, government said the Ghana Armed Forces have been deployed to maintain law and order with intensified curfews introduced to protect lives and ensure public safety. Authorities have assured residents that all necessary measures will be taken to safeguard lives and property, while acknowledging the inconvenience the heightened security measures may cause peace-loving residents, including students. Government reaffirmed its commitment to restoring lasting peace and stability in Bawku and surrounding communities. The statement also commended His Majesty Otumfuo Tutu II for his mediation efforts in the Bawku conflict and expressed appreciation to the Nairi and the Zugrana for their support. It noted that their collective efforts had brought the peace process close to resolution before recent killings triggered the need for urgent intervention. In a statement, government said the Ghana Armed Forces have been deployed to maintain law and order with intensified curfews introduced to protect lives and ensure public safety. Authorities have assured residents that all necessary measures will be taken to safeguard lives and property, while acknowledging the inconvenience the heightened security measures may cause peace-loving residents, including students. Government reaffirmed its commitment to restoring lasting peace and stability in Bawku and surrounding communities. The statement also commended His Majesty Otumfuo Tutu II for his mediation efforts in the Bawku conflict and expressed appreciation to the Nairi and the Zugrana for their support. It noted that their collective efforts had brought the peace process close to resolution before recent killings triggered the need for urgent intervention.
Still in Bawku, the government has announced an evacuation of educational institutions as well as Narigu and surrounding areas. The move comes after 2 students also of the Narigu Senior High School were shot and killed by unidentified gunmen. Here's what's contained in that statement released by government.
Statement says further to the statement issued by the Ministry of the Interior announcing the imposition of a curfew in Bawku, Nalerugu and its environs from 2 p.m. to 6 a.m. effective Sunday the 27th of July 2025. Until further notice, government wants to stress that in addition to helping to enforce peace, the curfew is intended to create an environment conducive to the evacuation of all students in various educational institutions in affected areas, some of whom have been unfortunately targeted in the conflict.
Well, we just heard there that there's been curfews in Bawku and its environs, also following the shooting of 2 students at Nalerugu. Also in the area, students are being evacuated from all educational institutions. As you can see in your shot, there are students who are getting ready to move from their schools away to either their homes or other places that they're supposed to go, as the situation in the area is not still volatile, really. 3 students in all, 2 from Nalerugu Senior High School and then 1 from Bawku Senior High School, were killed over the weekend, escalating the incidents in Bawku. We have on the line our regional correspondent Albert Sorry with us. Albert, we understand that there have been a series of security measures that have been rolled out, and also part of that is students being evacuated from schools. What's the latest you can report on this?
Yes, Mami. So what we are learning this morning is that calm has returned to the town, even though there is still tension. About 80 to 90% of the students have been evacuated, according to the MT when I spoke to him a while ago. The rest of the students are expected to be evacuated latest in the afternoon today. Now, there's also a 2 p.m. to 6 a.m. curfew imposed on Bawku by the Interior Ministry on the advice of the Regional Security Council. That curfew is being obeyed from what we learn. And so those are the measures that have been put in place. A few of the residents that I spoke to are really concerned about what is going on in Bawku at the moment. Because, you know, now a lot of them are having to stay indoors, only coming out to get food and to go back. And it appears that they are worried that sometimes when it looks like peace is returning, then all of a sudden there is an escalation. And a lot of them are wondering when the government is going to be able to put an end to all the violence that has been going.
Do we know of the arrangements of the WASI? You know, it's just around the corner. Is there any indication how they will be prepared for that exam, seeing they are being evacuated from their schools, or how they are being prepared for the exam?
We are trying to speak to the headmasters of the school. We haven't been able to get some of them, the headmasters of the school. Yes, they are busy now with the question of them. But what is that for now they are more concerned about the safety of the students. Once they get them home, then they will start the way the steps that they can school and what can forward to put them right. But I think
Albert, I seem to be losing you. Could you reposition yourself so that I can hear you properly?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, much better.
Okay. So what they are saying is that the primary concern this morning is the safety of the students. They want to get them to their various schools first, and then they can begin to look at the way forward in terms of what can be done to get them to write the exams later. But for now, looking at the tension going on and the fact that some students have already been killed and there is a possibility that others could be targeted, the primary concern now is the safety of the students. So the Municipal Security Council, together with the Regional Security Council, are trying to evacuate the students and get them to safety in their various schools first. And then discussions as to the way forward will also go.
All right, thank you so much, Albert, for that update. Kindly follow this for us closely. We'll definitely get back to you with the latest development on this particular issue. And there, Albert giving us the very latest on the issue in Bawku. Students are being evacuated from their schools as we speak. Well, the Ashanti Regional Security Council has established possible linkage between the recent shooting incidents in Kumasi and the Bawku conflicts. Last week, a Kusasi chief of Ashanti region and one other person was shot and killed at Asawase by unknown assailants on motorbikes. Another shooting incident was recorded at Dominase in the Ashanti region. This resulted in heightened security measures in the region, with snap checks being erected at regular intervals. And speaking on Love FM's morning show this morning, the Ashanti Regional Security Coordinator, Captain Retired John Jabari, says their intelligence indicates some persons in the south of Bawku Decent are being targeted.
As you said, you have already narrated what has happened, I think, for the past week or so. The death of the Kusasi chief, followed by the Dominase shooting incident, then later back to Asawase again. And we believe that all these killings are interlinked or are connected. Currently, we have put up certain security measures to prevent such incidents from happening. But we have a few leads or follow-ups that we are pursuing. We have almost about 3 or 4 suspects that we are pursuing. But at this time, it will be very difficult for me to give you the names or details of these people because we think that they might flee. But when we go on social media, there are so many talk about young men who are speaking about these things on TikTok, Facebook, that you can even pick up some from them. So we urge the public to help us with some of these details on those who are on social media talking and threatening with these killings at Asawase. We believe that what happened in Ashaman too might be linked to the same thing about Asawase. The general background is that it looks like the conflict is leaving Bawku and somehow coming to the southern side, where we have known chiefs or prominent people who are part of the Kusasi or the Mampusi groups, and the conflict is shifting towards that direction. That's the analogy that we are working with. But we believe that these measures we have put in place will curb the sporadic killings now, and will urge the citizens to cooperate with us. We know some of these restrictions infringe on their rights, but they must know that we have a situation to contain.
So how did you come to the conclusion that it has links or connections with the Bawku conflict?
One, the killings belong to these two same factions, that's the Mampusis and Kusasis who are dead. The charter that we have picked up from the various communications indicating that it's linked to the conflict over there. I think for the past 6 or 1 month, some killings have happened outside Bawku, still related to these two factions who are fighting. So that's the analogy that we are working with. But we are looking at other leads, but this is our main analogy that we are working with.
How certain are you, that you'll be able to bring the perpetrators to book? And what is being done to prevent similar incidents as well?
Currently, the police, national security, NIB are on the tail of these people. We have sophisticated weapons, sophisticated gadgets that we are using to tail or track some of these people. So I'm telling you that with the measures we are putting in, maybe within this week or next week, we're picking up 1 or 2 people who are linked or related to this.
Well, the Regional Coordinating Council has initiated stringent security measures following the killing of the Kusasi chief, Abdul Malik Azembe. And with that security measures, one of them, no motorbike operation is permitted on the road between 7 p.m. and 6 a.m. Motorbike riders are not allowed to carry passengers or additional persons during permissible hours. Also, motorbike riders are prohibited from wearing attire that can conceal weapons, including smocks, bulky jackets, or 3-piece suits or outfits. Also, the use of unregistered or unlicensed motorbikes is strictly prohibited. Commuters are not allowed to carry any weapons, whether licensed or unlicensed, in a car or on motorcycles until further notice. There is also heightened police and military visibility. Barriers and random stop and search checkpoints have also been erected in the area. And so those are the stringent measures rolled out by the security or the Ashanti Regional Coordinating Council. My colleague Nana Wachi Yadom joins me on the phone lines now with the latest on this adherence to the latest security measures. Nana Wachi, this was rolled out on Friday. Since then till now, how has been the adherence?
Well, Mamisi, there's been strict adherence to these restrictions that have been placed by the Regional Security Council that's been taken. And deployment police have very not these officers monitor the situation. We have some the boat transport and other areas. We also have the police from Accra joining the police in Kumasi. Over the weekend, the IGP led a huge delegation to inspect the crime scene at Asawase to boost the morale of the security men and women on ground, to tell them to strictly enforce the guidelines that have been put in place by the Regional Security Council. And we also have other national security operatives who are also monitoring the area, that's Asawase, and even the command itself, and also making sure that all the measures that have been put in place by REGSEC are being adhered to. All
right, thank you so much, Nana Wachi, giving us updates on adherence there. Well, Member of Parliament for Ota for Vincent Ekwasifwa is criticizing government's response to the conflict in his constituency. He says the imposition of the curfew and overall management of the situation have been ineffective. The MP is urging the state to adopt more proactive measures grounded in proper stakeholder engagement to ensure lasting peace.
We are having a security problem. The state will have to take proactive measures, not measures that on the face of it, it will look as if they are taking actions. And that's why I'm saying that you do not bring out a curfew when it is not properly coordinated to make sure that you get the effect that you need. What is the effect? The effect is that when you impose a curfew, people will have to obey it, and people will only obey it when there's a proper stakeholder engagement. Opinion leaders in a community are engaged properly so that they can also engage their people for the curfew to be obeyed. If the curfew is not obeyed, then you don't have a curfew at all.
Security consultant Professor Kwesi Anin says government must first seek to understand the distinct demands of each faction involved in the conflict before attempting any resolution. He also spoke on the AM show a while ago.
We need a much better multi-dimensional disaggregation of the interest groups. And I doubt if we have done a solid disaggregation of the multiple interest groups. What their strengths are, where they get their monies from, their weaponry, the interlocking nature of their relationship, and how the strengthening of these groups, economically and politically, are giving them the authority to now think they can challenge the Republic of Ghana.
Well, we go back to Kumasi, specifically Asawase, where Nanaya Jima is currently. Nanaya, what's the latest you can report?
Streets within the Asawase area, which is very busy with a lot of motorbike activities. Where I am now is the hub of motorbike mechanics within the Asawase enclave, and it's an area that a lot of these motorbikes are brought for servicing. So for that reason, we have a lot of them converging here on daily basis. I mean motorbike riders converging here on daily basis, and they are the most affected when it comes to the security arrangements that have been put in place here within the Asawase area and the Kumasi metropolis, to be specific. Now, let's talk about the security arrangements. Now, within Asawase, there are a lot of checkpoints that have been erected within the area. This morning, I've gone through about 3 of them before getting to where I am. And these security checkpoints are manned by police officers and a military man, one military man at each of these checkpoints. There are 2 police officers at least and a military man within these areas. And as you can see, the place is very calm after the security measures were put in place. The motorbikes, there are some on the roads this morning, and interestingly, all of them have just 1 person on these motorbikes. Most of them have 1 person on these motorbikes, and they are going by the restrictions that were given by the Regional Security Council. As I said earlier, this is the mechanic shop, or a hub for motorbike mechanic shops within this area. As there are some people who have already brought their motorbikes for servicing this morning. I spoke to them earlier, and they tell me that they are affected by the restrictions, but for security and safety concerns, they would want to go by it. Chief, good morning. Join you so. They say I don't pay me ba police checkpoint bear me and I'm a who no kwan so answer na me drew her. No, I'm all regime, I'm feel safe.
Debbie. Say, you know, a high. Sometimes who could juma, who pay now pentema could juma, who crack coins crow, naso police for Mukochiwa, Omuko Stopua, Ombesechu, Awi, who lances who will be a na correct. Naso Ombeka say, Pebi Bibra, 1 year be a moment, so I know more delay with time. More than 30 minutes, 1 hour, and son of Maja Munawako, and you're fine.
But who feel safe, sir? Police for our checkpoint, check cars, any motorbikes, who feel say, and Untiama, and Bamboka Krebia ba Asawase.
Yes, and okay, whom say, mobile no boy whom I know, and Yapam, Bessa, Musa treatment no my so I Jumano, and now a high crabet, or more on the Eboapa.
What motorbikes so?
Yes, motorbikes so.
So he's one of the motorbike riders within the Asawase area, and according to them, the present security restrictions that have been put here have given them some security within the area, but they think that there are some excesses from the police force that are within the area. So they believe that if those excesses are done away with, for the reason or the purpose why these people are here, they want it and they want them to be on the ground. But they believe that there are some excesses. Mami bi wa ha mami ne nkasa mami a police for checkpoints be recently in Nyama CCC or Asawase ne area. They say they arishim aba we about time wo mma ha arishim kakraba.
Arishim aba. Well, this I won nam kula tese ufu moto na tese musi na mu check mu ansa. Teye say ba mu aba so ase. Ya panesa.
Wo arishim say police for no wa ha na betimi a prevent obi a why na adwin so be money.
Oh, buy a bonnet, police me what they are, buy a bonnet side. A bonnet at a betcho. They are more 1 year.
Okay, so she is calling for one of the police checkpoints just in front of the shop that we are now, so that she'll be more secured. But as at now, she believes that there's a sense of security within the area. She has kids and others, and she believes that her kids and family are safe. If anybody would want to bring trouble to the area, she thinks that the police are here to curb this. She says that she has been checked by the police before. She was on a tricycle, and it's the main source of transportation within the area, and they stop them and check them. And she believes that it's a good thing and must be continued. Chairman, who the motorbikes, you know? So far, all customers know any our experience at saying.
Oh, Ajumane de Cecilia de Ajumane de Aestai. If you say Cecilia no be free okrampo se no moto kura se obabia. Who to moto kurampo na usuru. Aha, if you say police for na say omama moto ni twi kurampo na ehu. If you say who to moto Cecilia na woko wo sheche number plate woto. Still am search o mesia chimoto na si ho.
Almost dintia.
Aha, uko bisa Cecilia meka cho se bia peka krabra. Ansa na waye de bia fe kura na wo so waye den. Wa pia frifia uba adwuma sika bia ni ho. Ndi Cecilia na ma moto no twi kurampo no. Cecilia e fites for no intimi tu moto kurampo nkoba bia se ekoye adwuma. Fi se utu Cecilia police be che police so chewa uniska. E o musa de we amusi wo kurom ne de ya mo boy ho ban eye mmom. Ye de ye pa na mbom kwan amusen fa so amu treaty no.
And you just saw Nana Juma there interacting with some motorcyclists who think that the police, security boosted in the area is good. However, some of them, there have been excesses. Well, moving on, the Peace Council has also released a statement condemning the reported killings of residents at the Nalerugu Senior High School and Bawku Technical School and the assassinations at Asawase in Kumasi. They are also saying that the reported incidents are barbaric, cruel, distasteful, criminal, reprehensible, and a blot on human rights. Now, the council expresses deep condolences to the families of the deceased and calls on the security agencies to expedite investigations into the incidents and ensure speedy justice for the affected. Also is expressing grave concerns about the possible linkages of the incidents to the Bawku conflict and is worried about the growing insecurity in Bawku, Nalerugu and Asawase in the face of violent extremist activities in neighboring countries. Now, to this end, the council is calling on the feuding parties to channel their grievances to the Otumfo Mediation Committee and calling for the revival of Inter-Ethnic Peace Committee as a complementary mechanism to the Otumfo Committee towards finding an amicable solution to the conflict, and also appealing to the parties to pursue the values of tolerance, mutual respect and dialogue in any intervention plan to address the issues. And in conclusion, the council commends government for the swift actions taken so far and urges the state and its agencies to act decisively regarding the current happenings to ensure peace and security. So that's coming from the Peace Council. Away from Bawku and the security issues, residents of Central Kofie farming community in the Gwan district of the Oti region are grappling with their loss after a landslide swept through their farms along Tonja Mountain. The slide, which occurred after torrential rains in the area, destroyed several hectares of farms. Hundreds have lost their livelihoods due to the landslide, which washed away food crops, endangered tree species, among others.
The 4-hour torrential rain recorded one of the devastating disasters in the area, where huge landslides occurred in about 5 sections along the mountain. It cleared the topsoil, uprooted trees and created gullies, dumping huge rocks along. Several hectares of cocoa, maize, plantain, cassava, yam, cocoyam and pineapple, among others, were washed away. Some farms were completely covered with sandy soil washed down from the mountain, with deposits as high as 4 feet above the normal farmland level.
The 4 days, and Sana 18 medu, Yenya Kwang Bewura farm. Na yebe hwe no nkware se Ghana fo be hwe mfuni a etwem esekuliti na enya de eda fom. Nsu na to ayiri nyama amanfo koko asai ebi edua koko be se ebi de 10 acres, ebi de 20 acres, ebi de 6 acres, ebi
Jijo Amevo, one of the affected farmers who has farms along the mountain, is yet to recover from the shock. The landslide destroyed the majority of the cassava, pineapple and plantain farms, leaving a portion measuring less than 10 square meters.
Nagama kwa de bubu fande. Ese no obeto gbele na mama yovi o to subo. Tai maka ko de a di te fe bu ma wona mama yovi o che wadu.
There is intensified work at the foot of the mountain to clear debris from the remaining portions of farms. Poultry and goats were also reported to have been washed away by the landslide, which Simon described as the most terrific thing he has ever witnessed. His 15-year-old cocoa farm was not spared as the flooding water and debris swept through the northeastern part of the farm, destroying about an acre of cocoa.
Age of last about 11 years ago. Kake meno sigbo ya me blena de ko eto vide to me gbe la fuma ko to kake kela fike to me to kura la evacuate river dare fimi danya nu ke defuna me gbe me abe koko.
Executives of the Accelerated Rural Development Organization, ADO, visited the scene to assess the extent of damages. The executive director of ADO, Pascal Benson Atigla, attributed the unfortunate incident to climate change, urging the government and related international organizations to intensify climate mitigation, especially across Africa.
For what we are observing here today, which occurred on the 10th of this month, is so devastating that we think that we should call on the attention of the carbon emitters to know that their impact or inaction is affecting Africa. Because today we have observed that almost 100 plus hectares of land has been lost.
The impact of the landslide is great on the Sancho Kofi community. It is recorded as one of the greatest crop loss in the area after the 1983 incident caused by wildfire and drought, leading to famine. Fred Kwame Asari, Joy News, Sancho Kofi.
You're still watching Joy News with me, Mami Sinyamiche Thompson. We'll take a break or return with more. Well, Ghanaians continue to mourn the passing of high life legend Daddy Lumba, whose death on Saturday left a deep void on the country's music scene. The 60-year-old icon, known for shaping generations with his soulful lyrics and unmatched artistry, died at the Bank Hospital in Accra after a short illness. His legacy, however, lives on in the melodies that once moved a nation. Now joining me is Prophet David Che of Destiny Nation Church. Many know him as Kewa, one of Ghana's leading music producers, and he's worked with the legend Daddy Lumba and joins me on Zoom with more on this. We're grateful for your time, Kewa, on this unfortunate incident. Yes, but
yes, madam.
How did that news?
Grateful too.
Yes, how did that news hit you on Saturday?
I mean, pretty much. I mean, it's not any news that anybody will be excited about. On Saturday, I had a call from John Mourning. Pretty early in the morning, I had an event. So whilst I was going, he called me. He said something like that. And I immediately told him I don't believe it's true. Let me call a few people and rectify it and then come back to him and see. So I phoned a few people and they were saying, Ghana, these stories can come up. Let's not, what's a better word? Believe it. So, but I phoned Andy Dusty, but he did not pick it. Later he said it was on radio. So I left and I went for my event. When I was done with the event, I put up my phone and I started, getting a lot of messages, on social media. And so it really hits me because in a few weeks we've had, very close contact. We've been talking, we've been working together. And so when I got the news, it really was not a good news for me at all.
You've worked with him before. What are some of the music you've produced with him, and how will you describe Daddy Lumba working with him?
Yeah, I said on a sister station, Lumba is a perfectionist, and people who are like that usually come up or come out as arrogant and rude, but he's a very nice person. He just wants things to be done and done properly, also done on time. And so working with him, brought me to a place of, making sure it's done properly. Making sure that whatever you intend to do, it's possible.
And so, yeah, most of our productions, his input was about always. I mean, when I'm playing the beats, he's suggesting what to play on the kick, what to play on the snare, what to take out, what not. Sometimes we argue, we come back, and all that. So working with him really, I mean, great. And I was telling somebody also that Lumba goes into the vocal booth and does a one-take vocal take. He is very, very pro with what he does. And so it's always fun to work with him. And it makes you a very, disciplined person also working with people like that. Yeah.
What are some of the music?
And then the song.
Yes, that's what I want to.
Yeah, I worked on one he featured Sarkodie. I remember when I produced a song and then we were done with it. I proposed to him that I think it's good to get some of the young chaps on the song. And I said, Sarkodie. And he was like, oh, I like that young guy. He's really doing well. Can you get him? I said, I'll get him, don't worry. So I phoned Sarkodie that very day, and Sarkodie was amazed. He was excited to be on Lumba's song. So in just a matter of time, he came over, he wrote his verse, he put on a very solid verse. And I phoned Lumba that there's a surprise for him. He came to the studio edit, and together we phoned Sarkodie to come over. And then, one of my best productions ever is what I did, is the Nadum, his gospel song on that album. Yes, that was a very powerful production. That song really, really blessed me.
What would be the one thing you take away from Daddy Lumba? I mean, did you also, just before that, did you also work with him and Nana Champong together?
No, I think that, during this present production we're doing, he mentioned him that, he's done stuff with him before, and this very one, he wants it to be very, timeless. He actually said this is a production that is like he's retiring, but this is what he's retiring with. So I was excited to be producing for a legend like that, the very album that's going to make him retire. And so he mentioned the Night Champon also whilst we were recording, yeah.
Oh, so that album wasn't completed,
No, it was not. It was not. We put a lot of ideas down, we produced the beat and all that, and then we're just waiting for the next, which is a vocal take, etc., to happen, and we did not have that opportunity. I remember I kept asking if we could, start releasing a single or something because Ghana wanted to hear him. But Lumba, when you're working with him, you want to finish the entire album, then you can choose a song on the album to release, and so that's what we're doing. But as I speak with you right now, the songs are around.
So that means that album will never see the light of day, is it?
We could do anything to it.
Okay.
Yes. It's production, so anything can happen. So, but that solely depends on the family's decision. For us, we're just creatives. We would just not just wake up and do anything until we are giving the nod.
What will you miss about him, just before I let you go?
Well, anytime we record or we get recording, we can spend about 2 hours talking. And what people don't know about that Lumba is that Lumba is very deep when it comes to social issues. Not only in Ghana, but outside Ghana. There were some many, things he opened my eyes to I had no idea about nations like Burkina Faso, nations like even India and nations, across Africa, etc. So, we would talk, and then he kept advising that, Ghana, whatever you do, they will talk, they will say things that you have not done. They say you have killed somebody, etc. So he kept saying that, And we will talk, and then we will. One of the sentiment we shared every time was, helping people and not coming back to say thank you. Yes, they will rather disregard and disrespect you. So we talk about those things and we just move into action. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Kewa, Prophet David Che. He's with Destiny Nation Church, and he's one of the leading producers in the country who's also worked with Daddy Lumba on some of his albums. And may his soul rest in peace. Now we'll take a break. We'll return with business.
It's now time for business here on NewsX. My name is Winston Taki, and I'll tell first business story. Ghana and France have signed a bilateral agreement to officially grant Ghana some debt relief under the external debt restructuring program. France has become the first country within the Paris Club framework to sign a bilateral agreement after Ghana reached a common understanding with members in the Paris Club. While expressing gratitude at the signing ceremony, Minister of Finance Dr. Kesel Atuforsen appealed to other countries within the Paris Club framework to consider Ghana's economic gains and emulate France's gesture. Here is more.
Becomes the first country within the Paris Club framework to grant Ghana this relief after the country underwent a debt restructuring exercise caused by the unsustainable debt levels post-COVID-19. While expressing gratitude and touting the country's economic gains at the signing ceremony, Minister for Finance Dr. Kasiel Atuforsen appealed to other countries within the Paris Club framework to emulate France's gesture.
For me, today is a milestone, in fact, a big one. A milestone in the sense that it has taken us some years to get here, but it's the most significant one. The most significant one that will pave way for others to immediately sign. We expect to complete this process as soon as possible so that Ghana can breathe again. We want to begin investment. We've gone through our turbulent times, but we can see that hope is in sight.
In his address, the French ambassador said the action taken by France signifies the healthy relations that exist between the two countries. According to him, the move was crucial due to Ghana's unique role in the sub-region and its economic recovery program.
Emmanuel Macron, our president, decided to not let down Ghana for many reasons. Our historical relationship, the key role Ghana is playing in our region. I was born in Benin, so I can say in our region, I'm Beninese. I still have my Beninese passport. So to not let down this big country with a huge potential, very inspiring for all the African continent, because if Ghana falls, the risk is so hard to see the coastal countries, Benin, Togo, Ivory Coast, to follow.
Meanwhile, William Roos, co-chair of the Official Creditors Committee, called for effective collaboration to ensure Ghana sails through its restructuring exercise.
And so we launched first the debt service suspension initiative, and quickly after that, the common framework for debt treatment. We have to learn to work together, and I think that we have progressively built a very, very strong trust between China and France, and between all the G20 and Paris Club creditors.
The signing comes a day after Dr. Kasiel Atuforsen delivered the mid-year budget for the 2025 fiscal year. Government hopes to achieve overall GDP of at least 4% and end-year inflation of 11.9%, among other key macroeconomic targets to sustain Ghana's economic growth. From the Ministry of Finance, Isaac Atase-Nyako.
Great. We just got the latest update from the Central Bank regarding the Monetary Policy Committee meeting that is starting today. George Wiafe was there this morning and is here to give us update. George, what is happening?
Well, so the three-day meeting has started. Normally you hear the governor come and do the opening remarks, and he more would want to shape the discussion of what is going on right now. But again, in the governor's remarks, he talked about the strong economic recovery, but he was worried about certain measures that has taken place in the economy recently with respect to the recent levy on petroleum products and some charges as well. And what could be the impact of all these developments on inflation? Don't forget that the Bank of Ghana's mandate primarily is the inflation targeting. So how did they bring inflation down to the lowest minimum within their target of about the 8% +2 or -2? So for a lot of people reading the governor's posture, maybe it is clear that the policy rate will come down, but the biggest question here will be the margin of reduction and whether the data, and the governor himself told us recently that we should always look or make a judgment based on data. The data on liquidity and inflation warrants any significant cut in the monetary policy committee rate. And that's the big challenge here for them.
For someone listening to us, hearing policy rate briefly, how significant is it?
So let's just say that this is the rates that the Bank of Ghana lends to commercial banks. It is also a signaling tool. It shapes the direction of interest rates going forward. It gives you a fair idea about how the economy is doing. It would often influence that loan that you're already servicing or you plan to service as well. It actually shapes the direction of the economy in terms of the risk outlook and all those things. So if you forget anything about the policy rate, think about the fact that whatever decision that they take by Wednesday would impact on that loan that you're already servicing or you plan to take from that commercial bank.
We'll have an extensive conversation on the marketplace at 1 p.m. where we break down all the development here on Joy News. Over to you, Mamiesi, for the rest of the bulletin.
Rates comes down anyway. So thank you so much, George and Winston, for that update on business. But that's how we close I'll draw the curtain to a close on Joy News today. Joy News Desk. I am Amisi Nyamiche Thompson. There's more news on myjoyonline.com plus the latest on this situation. Thank you very much for joining us.